Well, hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Dads on the Fly podcast. I'm Caleb with my brother Joshua, and we're hanging out in the basement tonight. Joshua, how's it going?
It's going great. We got a lot of cool stuff to talk about tonight. I'm excited about this episode, excited to talk about kind of what we've been doing on the water. Just want to give a big shout out to everybody who's been listening and connecting with us and all the ways that you can connect with us from. Got some cool things we're going to talk about. Somebody sent us some Smallmouth tips.
Yeah, they did.
They reached out on that episode, and also just some cool things that we've been doing on the water. We are back on YouTube tonight.
Hopefully.
We have employed Foster to watch the camera because we've had a couple it's a true Dads on the Fly fashion. This makes us who we are. One episode I actually went and checked the video. It was working. Then sat back down.
And 2 seconds later,
and somehow we lost the video.
Yeah, who knows?
So
we're definitely not pros at this.
No, it's perfect. We're far from pros.
Yeah,
we are what we are, and so we are trying to get back on YouTube. So hopefully this episode everybody can check out, and we want to just talk about some recent things we've been doing on the water and in the fatherhood world, man. So let's start with, I guess it's been a week ago now, right? A week ago today.
I think so, yeah.
So last Sunday, we got to do some fishing with our family. We gave the update on you got Reed some waders for his birthday.
We did, yep.
And you were able to get him out one time solo.
Mm-hmm.
And then last Sunday, we were able to take Reed, Corbin, and Foster. James was with his mom in South Carolina. And we got to do some fishing.
We did. We got him out on the water, and it was a good time. Got to take him to where we learned how to fish. And it was pretty great. It was a pretty special afternoon.
Dude, it was really awesome. And here's a lot of reasons it was awesome. Because one reason was the weather was beautiful. It's like really warm. Corbin doesn't have waders yet.
Not yet.
Which is, you brought Reeds tonight for her to try on.
Yeah, I did, yeah.
So that she can maybe get into those. But she was in a pair of like galoshes.
Oh, yeah.
And that lasted about 30 seconds.
Yeah, I don't know why you put socks on her in those.
I didn't. She just put them on. And then we were rolling. Pretty much she was just barefoot waiting for the rest of the afternoon.
Yeah. Her and Reed had a blast, though. It was great. You know, we were catching a few fish from time to time. They'd come running with the net.
Well, at one point, Reed was netting water spiders.
Oh, yeah. He was having a blast netting bugs and catching bugs. And, I mean, it just goes back to all the stuff we always talk about on this show of how, you know, a lot of times we have these expectations and these ideals of the fact that we want our, 7-year-old to be casting perfect tight line loops and, tight line nymphing just right and sitting there and casting for 2 hours on end. And that's just unrealistic. That's not going to happen to for a 7-year-old. And but what he did have a blast doing was being outside, being on the water, coming and reeling in fish and netting fish and holding fish and seeing fish and
releasing
fish, trying to catch bugs, flipping over rocks, grabbing sticks and pretending they're fishing rods. I mean, he had an epic day. He's talked about it all week.
It was a fun day, man. We spent like maybe 2-3 hours. And I had Foster on a 5-weight rod doing some like double nymph rig, and you were wearing out the G Loomis Euro rod.
Yeah.
Big shout out to G Loomis and our buddy Landon, who's going to be in one of our rod builder episodes. But you had the G Loomis Euro rod, 10-foot 3-weight. And I think you started getting some action on one of our buddy Bailey's stoneflies, right?
Was that? Yeah, we caught a couple on that. We caught mostly stuff on egg patterns. And some little small pheasant tails and things like that.
The Frenchie was on again. But you started hooking in some fish.
Yeah.
And eventually we switched.
Yeah, I got the Euro rod taken out of my hands and never saw it again.
No, you didn't. And I caught like 2 fish, and then I finally just handed it to Foster.
Yeah. You wanted to try to learn it.
I was learning a little bit, and it is different, learning how to feel the fish and all that stuff. So anyway, I got to where I was catching I caught a couple pretty like back to back, and I handed it to Foster. And he started getting the feel of it.
Yeah, he was real skeptical at first because it's not what he's used to at all. He was totally against wanting to try to cast it, and you were throwing it and started catching fish. And I think after you caught 1 or 2, he was like, okay, maybe I want to give this a try.
So he fought a couple that I'd hooked.
Yep.
And
which is a blast on that
three-way rod.
And then so great.
I think he hooked one on his own. And about that time he was fishing, and for the first time in our fly fishing experience on that river, we had a visitor.
Oh yeah, we did. Yeah, for the
And,
first time.
and here's what's funny about this. This is just so. It's just like
So our visitor was
our visitor was a game warden,
Yep.
which we love to
Which I'm
see.
really glad
we
they
were
were out
so
there.
glad he was out there.
Yeah.
But I got that new Orvis book bag. Remember?
Yep.
The backpack, the waterproof backpack, and I was like, I'm fishing that thing anytime I can now. Because Foster had a chest bag on, so he could hold flies. I'm like, taking the book bag. I could put all their water bottles, I had everything for the kids.
Yeah, it was good.
As we're driving to the river, I think to myself, I left my pack at home, my chest bag.
Yeah, which has
my license.
Yeah.
I was like, I'll never get checked, but just in case, because we've been going hundreds
over
of times.
10 years we've been going and never been checked.
Hundreds of times, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, I better pull over and pull up my license and take a screenshot.
Yeah.
And I'd be doggone if he didn't come, which was great. I love seeing Officer Gillespie. I think Gillespie, great dude.
Yeah.
Gillespie. We talked for a long time while Foster was fishing, but luckily I had that screenshot saying that my license was good, and he was cool with that, which was nice to know because I didn't know if that would work. I was a little scared about that too.
Yeah,
but he was like, "No, you're good."
I get that number.
Active. It showed it was active. I was good, in good standing. And he wished us well and went on his way. But
yeah, it was pretty funny. As soon as he walks away, you're like, "Dude, I got something to tell you about that." I was like, "What did he do? What happened?"
Too perfect that day I had stopped and pulled up my license.
You're very fortunate you did.
Yeah, because
that would have been a ruining moment for what was a great day.
I know. But so a couple things there, guys. Make sure you have your license if you're fishing wherever you are, especially here in North Carolina. But make sure you're legal wherever you are, and we were catching and releasing fish like we're supposed to in that water. We got a little fly action tonight. Look, a little hatch going on here in the basement. And make sure that you respect those guys for what they're doing. And we talked a long time about how he's trying to do a better job of policing that area and all that stuff. So it was really cool. But just so you know, you can have that digital license on your phone.
It's a good thing to have.
So after we left that spot up the top of the river where we were fishing, we went back down for one of my other kind of fun moments of the day.
Oh, yeah, this was great.
So Corbin's feet at this point are pretty cold.
Yeah, they're turning blue.
Yeah,
she's freezing.
They were not turning blue.
I mean, the shadows are hitting the water. She's not getting in the sun anymore.
No.
She, you had told her time and time again, don't wade past the top of your boots. That was a pointless thing because she just took the boots off eventually, and I would hook fish. She'd come running over. She'd be standing barefoot in the river.
She was barefoot for a good hour and a half.
For a while.
Yeah. And I'm not sure what the water temp was. Didn't have my
It wasn't warm.
I mean, it was probably over 50.
Maybe.
I'm sure it was over 50.
Yeah, maybe.
But anyway, her feet were not blue, folks. Yeah. She was good, but she was like, Dad, I think it's time. So I walked her and Reed up to the truck.
No.
I didn't? I was going to.
We were walking down. We came down to that main hole, that first hole right there when you get in the river. And we walked down, and you come to me and say, hey, the kids are cold. I'm going to go ahead and take them to the truck, let Corbin try to warm up. And Foster's like, okay, Dad, me and Caleb are going to stay here, and I'm going to cast the Euro rod a few more times. So he casts it, and he sets the hook.
He did.
And you're like, oh, buddy, did you get hung again? He's like, no, it's fish. And you're like, yeah, okay. It's it's fish.
It was like the first cast.
Yeah, it's literally the first cast into that hole. And you're like, yeah, okay, whatever. I'm sure it's fish, whatnot. And he yanks again, and all of a sudden that line takes off. And you're like, oh, shoot, it is a fish.
So and that was like all him, his casting.
Yeah, he did great.
He has gotten really good. And now
we landed it, got a great picture of it. It's awesome.
And now that's all everyone. We're taking the Euro. If we go anywhere, hey,
I forgot to bring it here tonight.
You got to bring. I think we're going to go Tuesday afternoon. So I got to have the Euro rod.
Yeah, we'll get it to you.
And it was cool because I wasn't sure, just not familiar with it in that type of stream, how difficult it would be. And for me and him both to be able, he ended up catching more than I did on it. Yeah. To be able to use that method and feel fish, it is really cool.
Yeah, it's a really, in some ways it's simple. It's really simple. Yeah. It's different if you're not used to it, but in some ways it's really simple. I mean, it's flip and dip, man.
Yeah, it's not the only kind of fishing I will ever do. It's not something I say that I will. I think it's great to do in like water like that, have a good time.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially on like DH stop.
Sometimes you catch more fish.
Yeah, and you do, and that's what we're trying to do.
You're able to get flies in their face.
And kids, when you're fishing with kids, you want to be successful.
Exactly.
And that was cool. But you caught a couple fish on the dry fly, man.
Oh, yeah.
Remember after we switched over?
Yeah, for sure. That was a lot of fun.
Which is pretty cool.
Yep.
You were catching some fish on the dry fly. Foster's trying to tell us a story. You caught one on a dry fly? Oh, yeah. That's right.
Oh, that's
Foster
right.
caught that one brown trout, you know. Yeah. He caught on the dry fly, which is pretty cool. And he loved it as much as the big one. And all in all, just a really good evening on the water.
I think it was the reason it was so successful is because we did a lot of what we've learned from the show and what we've talked about a lot is we had very low expectations. We didn't try to force kids to do anything they didn't want to do. They were all having fun doing their thing.
Yeah.
And so when they were having fun, it allowed us to have a lot more fun.
Yeah, man. And it put me in a good mood for like 4 days.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's crazy how good a mood I was in on Monday morning. Going into school Monday morning, I was like on cloud 9.
That's good.
Because Foster had caught fish on his own. We had great pitch. I mean, it was just, I don't know. It was
a good time.
What I'll say that we don't always often say is it's worth it. Sometimes we talk a lot about how it helps our mental health or how it just helps us get a new place, but sometimes with your kids it's more stressful. So you're like, it doesn't put you in a good place, but that one, trip,
I can totally relate.
Put us in a good place, man. We were like just on cloud 9. We talked about it like all week long. And so that was last Sunday, and on Wednesday, you didn't do any fish between now and then. On Wednesday, Foster and I set out on. This is our fatherhood part of the show. Foster and I set out on the 5th grade field trip.
Nice.
And this was a jam-packed field trip. So we started, we just went to a local area, Pigeon Forge. And we started at what's called Wonderworks, which I think you've been to Wonderworks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
A lot of crazy stuff in Wonderworks.
Yeah, like a little science museum type
deal. Like ropes courses.
Mm-hmm.
We did get one game of laser tag.
Nice.
And Foster and I dominated.
Love it.
Like, not even close. Like these little kids, that play Fortnite all the time. We're talking all this smack while we were in line waiting. I had like 500 more points than they did.
Oh man, I could see you running around shooting up a bunch of little
dude. I was like wearing them out with some laser tag. And they got back in. They were like, "Look, I came in first." I was like, "Check that leaderboard." Like number 23 was the winner, and Foster came in second. So it was like our bragging rights for the week. That was like the first event. And that was cool. And then Wednesday night, we go to Ripley's Aquarium. Now, let me just tell you, after doing a podcast for a year and a half and totally being obsessed with fishing, an aquarium was a whole new experience for me.
Okay.
Like, we walk in, there's this big tank of fish, and it's saltwater fish. And I'm looking for, to be honest, I was like, what if they got permit in here? I don't think they do. That was like my first. I was like,
where's the bonefish?
I'm going to watch how these things behave while I'm here. I'm serious. And,
Josh was talking to the
the
aquarium employee saying,
I did.
Hey, teach me about these fish.
We went down to,
that's awesome.
They went to this classroom to play like Jeopardy, right, Foster? They play like Jeopardy. And I know nothing against the Ripley's people. Great folks, but not education majors. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Jeopardy was a little dry.
Gotcha.
Got me?
Okay, yeah.
So I was like, I'm out of here. So the kids were doing their thing, and I'm the bus driver, dude. I needed some space. I had been a lot of lows. So I started walking around the aquarium, and I found these 2 ladies. They were like marine biologists. And they had to go feed some fish. And I was like, I'm coming with you. At this point, the aquarium is closed.
Okay, yeah, because y'all were there for sleeping with the sharks.
Yes, so it's just ours.
Yeah.
We are the only people in the aquarium, which was pretty stinking cool.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I'm going to go watch you feed these fish. Will you let me feed them? She was like, no, I got to climb up on a ladder, insurance, liability.
Yeah, totally.
I was like, okay, no big deal. Well, we get up there, and she's feeding them, and the other girl's like watching, also a marine biologist, super cool people. And I was like, can you tell me all their names? I want to know the names of the fish. And she starts reeling them out. And I was like, okay, cool. And I was like, no game fish. It's like nothing I can really watch.
Sport fish.
But then I got to walking around. There's like this huge pond. Mm-hmm. They do like a boat tour. They paddle the boat. It's like glass bottom across this pond. I mean, they don't do saltwater. Yeah, saltwater pond. So, it's not big, but it's big-ish. Size of a football field, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe a little smaller.
Okay.
And I'm like, dude, there's all this space. Uh-oh. We're getting message from the videographer here.
Well, I'll tell you what. You're telling us this awesome story.
You got to hear the story.
We want to hear it. So let's pause. Let's take a quick break.
We'll come
right back and hear the story of Joshua at
the aquarium.
Yeah. And we're back hearing a little bit about Joshua's. I've seen the movie Night at the Museum. I think Night at the Aquarium would be a lot of fun. After this. So Joshua's Night at the Aquarium. So you're telling us about.
So I go up on. They got like a platform.
Okay, yeah.
It's like perfect.
Yeah.
And I literally put this on our Instagram story. Why did I not bring a 9-weight? You know what I'm saying?
Catching fish in the aquarium.
Dude, I mean, imagine the
there's
kids.
Room to cast. Like there's.
Well, imagine the kids like watching the fish fight, you know, like because they can see from all these angles. They got all these different places. And I'm like, there's so much room to cast. I was like, I could have really worked on my double haul here.
Yeah.
I got it out, no problem. Then I got to thinking, like, well, what's actually in here that's going to eat?
Yeah.
You know? Well, there's this other guy who'd been there for like 9 years. And he was super cool. And I was like, I thought about bringing him. I was like, what would happen if I threw a fly out there or like a fly or some kind of bait? And he's like, dude, they'll eat anything. He's like, when something hits the water, they just eat.
They go nuts.
And then I got to looking at all the fish. There were tarpon.
Oh, wow.
There's some tarpon laying out. I was like, dude, can you imagine like tarpon fighting a fly? But then I got to thinking like, if you did like get a little blood of the tarpon and then sharks and like,
there's sharks in there.
Imagine.
Oh gosh, I bet a wounded acting fish, like a fish on a fly.
I mean, just imagine what would happen, right? So it was.
That
opportunity wasted, but
you talk about a nightmare story a fifth grader would have had. Dad, there was this guy and he hooked this fish and a shark just ate it.
I know that was just
nobody sleeps that night in the aquarium.
Well, I was thinking if I got up at like 2 a.m, nobody ever know.
Yeah.
But besides, since we didn't actually go to bed till we're supposed to lay down with the sharks at like 12:30.
Yeah.
Dude, these kids wouldn't sit still in these sleeping bags. You know
man,
that sound
graders,
the sleeping bag makes. And you had brought me my sleeping mat that I had let you borrow.
Yeah, how'd that go?
It's got a flipping hole in it.
I told you I didn't think it worked.
It would if it wasn't for the hole. I got the air in it, and there was this gaping hole. I have no duct tape. So I've got Scotch tape.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Did it work?
And I've got so much Scotch tape on it. It's like out here. Still didn't work. I am sleeping on a rock solid floor.
Yeah.
Sleeping bag noise all night long. Wasn't the perfect sleeping scenario, but I learned a lot about fish.
There you go.
That's so it was a well spent night at the aquarium. We woke up the next morning and got out of Dodge and we went to the zoo, which was not near as cool as the aquarium. I mean, the zoo was nice, but I was really into the aquarium at that point. After doing a fishing podcast, I was like, this is perfect.
That's great.
Another cool thing that I was able to do driving the bus, and you'll be proud of me. I mean, you know that stretch from Pigeon Forge to Gatlinburg, right?
Oh yeah, it's not.
But like, what runs right through the middle of the road?
Oh, the river, yeah.
And what do I have a problem doing with?
Oh gosh, yeah. Don't be looking at the river while you're driving a bus full of kids.
So I'm driving the bus full of kids, and I'm just
I hope your supervisors aren't listening to this episode.
I was just like, I got to keep my eye on the road. I know there could be people fishing over there because it's a park stream.
Yeah,
I mean that's part of the national park right there. But anywhere there was traffic and we got like stopped, I would just stop. Look, check, see if anybody was fishing. There were so many people in Pigeon Forge, it was crazy. But then we did the zoo and Dolly Stampede, which I didn't even know still existed, which is like remember when we were young, went to like medieval times and they brought you the food with like no silverware? Yeah, that's what this was for Dolly Stampede, a bunch of horses running around and stuff. It was pretty cool. But the aquarium was definitely. When I found out they were tarpon, cool. I was like, man, that would have been cool.
Sleeping with the tarpon.
Like it. Yeah, they were sleeping with the sharks, but for me, it was sleeping with the tarpon. And I actually texted our buddy Chad, that has the fly shop over there.
Oh, yeah.
He lived a little too far to bring me a rod, but, how cool would that have been? So, yeah, great trip, man. The kids had a blast. Everybody had fun. And in true just dads on the fly fashion, I just want to say being with your kid on trips like that, even though I kind of let Foster do his own thing, but just being there is cool. And I would encourage any dads, moms, uncles, whoever has a chance to go on field trips with your kid to go. You kind of just watch how they react with each other, and then riding roller coasters at Dollywood and doing things like that and seeing the zoo. I mean, just things that we had done before, but doing it kind of different. It was cool.
Yeah, different setting. You get to watch how Foster interacts with other kids. You get to see a side of him you probably don't get to see at home.
Not going back to sleep with the sharks anytime soon, but the aquarium was a plus. I would go back to the aquarium. It was well done.
That's really cool.
But Friday, while we were at Dollywood, you, my friend,
had a day.
Got to go smallmouth fishing again.
Yeah, it was awesome, man.
And you had your best day on the water, right?
Yeah, definitely had the best day I've ever had smallmouth fishing. It was a really good time. Met up with a friend of ours, and went and floated a awesome section of river and had a day. It was really cool. Definitely the most smallmouth we've ever put in the boat. Caught my personal best smallmouth so far. Still not a huge fish, but for me it was the biggest one I've caught. And I just still got the fever, man. Those things are just so much fun.
I think I'm going this weekend.
That's awesome.
Maybe twice. This weekend because spring break's right on the corner. But we do want to do a couple things with this smallmouth trip. And the first one is we want to bring an update from behind the vise from Anadromous Fly Company, aflyco.com, your go-to source for scissors and all your fly fishing tool needs. Call Herb and the guys or go see Herb and the guys at aflyco.com. Use code DADS20 at checkout for 20% off. And this is brought to you by Aflyco because you, my man, tied a fly.
Yeah.
That wore some smallmouth out.
We did. It was kind of neat. So we were fishing and trying to figure it out. Little overcast in the morning, little cool, but warmed up pretty quickly. And when we first started out, we got a few takes early on with some just black streamers, some crawfish patterns, and then we switched to like an olive color and worked pretty good. Again, got a couple hits, nothing crazy, but worked pretty good. And then after we talked about this on a previous episode,
we got
talked
a lot
about
of feedback.
Some smallie flies. We got some great feedback, and people sent us some great flies that I wanted to try to check out and maybe try to tie. And then it also sent me down a rabbit hole researching different types of flies. Well, last time we were there, what we had success on was just a black woolly bugger with an orange bead. And
you call it a leech.
Yeah,
right?
They call it like an egg-sucking leech.
There you go.
And worked great, but I didn't have anything to tie any of that. And a guy sent us a fly called a black mamba. It's really simple fly. It's basically just a zonker, rabbit strip zonker, little crystal flash underneath the tail, some rubber legs on it, some UV polar chenille, real simple fly.
Bingo.
And I thought, okay, I'm going to try to tie something like this up because, of course, I didn't have any material I needed to tie the actual black mamba, the actual fly itself. I didn't have the right colors, didn't have the right material. So I was like, I'm going to try to come up with something similar. So I ended up tying a zonker pattern, similar to the black mamba. Crystal flash for the tail with a piece of rabbit strip over the top of it. It's a simple fly. I tied a dozen of them in probably half an hour.
Sweet.
Piece of rabbit strip, tie the rabbit strip on for the tail, UV polar chenille underneath it. Pull the rabbit strip back across the top, tie it down, tie some rubber legs on it. But then the fun part, and I was like, I'm just going to do this because why not? I took some orange ice dub, tied it for the collar around the
little hot spot type action.
Little hot spot right there at the front. And man, by the end of the day, I've got a picture of that fly before the day and after the day, and it is just chewed to death because we ended up catching probably about 10 fish on that one fly.
That's too cool, man.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And it was really neat. Just trying because it felt like I finally succeeded in what I've been trying to do this whole time. We've been chasing these smallmouth, which is trying to figure it out and trying to figure out what types of flies to use and also how to fish for them, where they're at, figuring out where they sit, and we finally had some good success. So it was a lot of fun.
Have you named the fly? Or does the fly not get a name?
I don't know, man.
I don't know how this works.
It's a variation on something else, and it's still not really what I want it to be because I still don't have the materials that I really want, but it works. So I'm like, screw it.
I mean, this is what I don't understand about the fly tying world.
I have no idea how that happens.
How do you create a pattern? Like, you think about all these different other worlds where, one little difference makes it your own. Does it become your own fly at this point?
I don't know. I don't know if you trademark it. I don't know how that works.
I don't think we trademark it.
Oh, I'm not going to. I'm just saying, I don't know how that actually works for the people who actually do it. For the Kelly Gallops and the guys who design these insane looking flies.
Well, I just want to say I was super stoked, man. And you were super happy when you called me.
It was cool.
Now, that was the day we were at Dollywood on the field trip. And I
figured you were busy because you only texted me like 4 times in the water. So it was pretty good.
Well, I quit because that first time I texted, I just texted fish, ? And I didn't get a picture back. I was like, damn. And then eventually I get tagged on, because you went with our buddy Landon.
Yeah, and I didn't even realize he was taking pictures.
And he was like tagging stuff on Instagram. I was like, all right, we're doing good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like a team effort. Now, when you go fishing or I go fishing without you, it's almost like a team effort. Because I know, 1, you're being successful, but 2, like, it's going to give us content for the show.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, well, I want it to be successful. Yeah. We can talk about the show.
Yep.
And you had a great day.
We did. I got a funny story. You mentioned Landon, and I'm going to tell the story on him because we had a lot of fun with this. So Landon's a guide from Eventful Fly Shop. He's a good friend of ours. And we were fishing together and having a great time. And he's just a really cool guy and young guy. And so anyway, we're fishing together. And this is to tell you how funny the story is about this fly. And so we're all kind of having success, but I'm the only one with one of these flies. It's the only one I tied just like that. I had another one real similar to it,
tied one,
but I didn't have a lot. And it's just starting to really catch a ton of fish. Well, the wind started picking up pretty bad, kind of in the same spot that it picked up last time we were on the Stretch River. And Taylor, the other person who's with us, she's rowing, but we get pinned against a rock. But right as we get pinned against this rock, there's this huge eddy right behind this rock. Okay. And so we're like, hey, we're not going to work for a minute.
Leave us pinned, right?
We're going to stay pinned for a minute. We're going to fish this eddy because I'm sure we're going to catch fish in there. Sure enough, I cast that fly that I've got out there and strip, bam, boom. Smallie.
Love it.
Great time, pulling it in, get it netted. Awesome. Well, about that time, Landon gets hung up or something as well. He gets hung up like on a rock or something because we were fishing deep and we were getting hung up from time to time. He gets hung up and he can't get it off. Finally, I'm about to get us out of the boat.
Okay.
Or about to get out of the boat to get us off the rock. But he gets hung up, so I'm like, okay, I'm going to wait. And I'm going to fish some more. So I cast one more time, strip, nothing. A few more times. All of a sudden I cast, and I've been chunking some flies all day. And when I cast, the tip of my 6-weight goes flying out into the water.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, the tip of my rod. So I'm kind of freaking out. And we're in some pretty good current where we're pinned. So I'm like, crap, I got to do something. So I just go out of the boat. Like I hand the rest of my rod to Taylor, and I'm out of the boat, and I've got the line in my hand, and I'm literally just trying to pull it in. I get the tip of the rod in. Now, this rod has got this fly that I've tied that's been catching a pretty good fish. Yeah, I want this. But I can't, like, I'm already out of the boat, so I just hand them the rod, and I'm like, hey, since I'm already out, I'm going to get us pinned off this rock.
Gotcha.
Well, as I'm unpinning us, Landon's got my rod in his hand, and he casts twice and catches 2 more fish out of that same hole with my rod and with my fly. And I'm like, dude, what kind of guide are you, man? I can't wait to leave you a review on Yelp. Like, I mean, you take somebody else's. He wasn't guiding.
It was a guide's day.
Oh yeah, no, he was. We were just fishing together having a time. But man, we left.
That is such a me move.
Oh yeah, he just took my rod. I know. I thought I left Josh went home. Like he takes my rod with the fly's been catching, and bam, catches 2 fish back to back, same hole with my rod and with my fly. And I'm like, give me that thing back.
There you go. So awesome day on the water, man. We're just in the season, but it's so cool based on where we live. Like we can do the trout thing with our kids, like we did on Sunday night. We can float the smallies. I mean, we're just back. We can do it all.
And then I got another great opportunity today.
Yeah, man,
with my kids. I mean, we had a great time. There's a little small pond right near the house, and the owner's been super kind enough to let me check it out. And I grabbed the glass rod that we're going to talk about in a future episode, which is so stinking cool.
Folks, if you really want to know what we are sitting here recording on a Sunday night.
You got me on it.
We are meeting with our glass. We are interviewing our glass rod maker here in about
an hour and a half.
In about an hour and a half, yeah. So we probably won't finish till midnight tonight. But this episode will drop in the morning. Yeah, you'll struggle on a Monday, but we had to do it. It was like, we're coming into spring break, so it's like our marathon to get ready.
Get everything ready.
Get everything ready.
But
so you took your kids with the glass rod.
I took the kids with the glass rod out to that pond and just tied a hook on the end, put a bobber at the top, and grabbed some night crawlers at the gas station on the way to the house, and they had a blast, man. We caught like 7 or 8 bluegill in an hour, probably less than an hour, and the kids were just having a ball. That rod is so much fun catching those panfish on.
I can't wait to talk to our buddy here just a minute on that.
That rod just bends. And, they had a lot of fun. But again, just a really cool opportunity. Walked 500 yards from the house, this little pond, and
I love it.
had a great time. So we've done it. The past week, I've done trout, smallmouth, and bluegill. Dang, that's a heck of a week. That's the first time I've had a chance to think
we're
about
just getting
that.
started with the weather. I mean, now the weather's nice.
Now that the days are longer, dude, there's afternoons that we're going.
But think of all the years we didn't do this. Like we wasted I think all this local water. Yeah. We thought we had to go to the park, which we love to do, and we still want to do it and catch our native brookies here in a couple months.
But opening day was this past weekend.
Even go trout
fishing. Supported water, and can't wait to just float here by the house.
Float our river. Park, and man, it's just so cool how many opportunities we get. And I think we are. I'm glad that our kids are staying on board because we're in. Like we're heavy in now at this point. And,
Reed's all about it, man.
Yeah.
I mean, he got he got his waders for his birthday. Yeah. He got some fishing. He's got more gear than I do now. He's got more Sims and he's for some reason my family's big into there's a company out in Montana called Dead Drift. I've got a really cool hoodie with a fly on it.
Shirt they got him.
Yeah, he got a Fly Guy shirt, and he got another. Dude, this is great. His grandmother got him a shirt, and it's like a bunch of different flies. It's got like 12 different flies just kind of spaced all over it. And he said, "Daddy, I can wear this with you, and when you're trying to figure out what fly to use, you can just look at my shirt."
That's great.
It's great, dude. But man, he's really sold out. I was so proud of him today, just taking him to that little pond this afternoon. Yeah. He untangled his own lines. He was grabbing worms and trying to hook them by himself, grabbing all the fish that he caught and trying to help get them off the hook. I mean, I was really proud. Yeah. I was like, this is great. This is kind of the way I was dreaming, dreaming, just really looking. I was looking forward to this season. Yeah. I mean, James is still 4 and he's not there yet, and that's okay. And he's not supposed to be, but I really didn't expect Reed to start getting there already at 7. And now that he's getting there, and I think it's just because he's been more and more surrounded by it with you and me and with his older cousin Foster and watching him do it. And he's just really, he's bought in and I'm loving it, but I'm also trying not to.
Well, I think my biggest thing is with Foster 11, he's caught, we've told the stories about the dry fly wild fish in the park and on vacation. And that was his first really Euro fish, nymphing on his own, no indicator.
Yeah.
And he's just to see him fight those fish. And then I think what was even cooler is he talked about it for 2 or 3 days after. And so I think that's a lesson that we talk about on the show a lot. Let it come at the time, let it progress.
At their pace.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for. Yeah. Let it be at the pace and every kid is different, man.
And I had a moment this afternoon where I had to remind myself of that because we were out there at that pond catching some bluegill, and the sun started to set, so it started getting a little cooler. Yeah. But also that was the time where the fish just it was almost every other cast for a minute. And Reed finally looked at me and was like, "Dad, I'm really hungry and I want to go home." And he had just caught one, and James was like, "But I don't want to leave with. I got to get another one," because he had to catch the same amount as his brother. So Sally had already walked up to the house to start cooking dinner, so I called Sally. I was like, "Hey, Reed's coming on back. Me and James are going to stay out here until we catch him another fish." And we did pretty quickly. Yeah. But when Reed said that, I was like, "Oh, dang." But he wants to go home. Yeah. But I could have easily been like, "No, buddy, you're not going home. You're going to stay out here. Mm-hmm. This is what we do." I could have done that. But instead, I chose to be like, "Okay, he's done. So let's not force it to where he hates it. Let's keep the excitement." And when I got home and we sat around the dinner table tonight, and one of the things we try to do when we sit around the dinner table is we talk about our highs and lows, the best part of your day and worst part of your day. And his high was going fishing. There you go. And so, I mean, that's what's all about. Even though it may not have been exactly how I wanted it to, it still went.
In his eyes, it was amazing. In his eyes,
it was perfect.
Man, I love doing these shows like this where we can just talk about what we've been going through and what we've been experiencing with our kids. I want to ask 2 things from our listeners. Number one, guys, we are pumped about the April Rod Series episodes, the Rod Builder. So please tune into those and give us your feedback. We're going to be talking to 3 different people about rod building, glass rods, graphite rods, and bamboo rods. All of them are awesome in their own way. So please check those out. And the second thing is we've got a couple more reviews recently, and that really helps us out. But I want to just say, if you enjoy this episode, let us know. And maybe if you just drop us a line, email, or an Instagram message. We're planning the summer episodes. I've got all of our guests I'm trying to plan up. Been doing really good this year, by the way. I've been we
super
are
impressed.
Way better off.
You're way ahead of the game.
But we had a comment from a listener, maybe another guide series. We got a couple other little series maybe we might do, but I also think that we want to hear if you guys enjoy these, because I think from our numbers and stuff, we're trying to see people enjoy hearing about our kids and hearing about how we father too. So just leave us that feedback. It helps us to kind of understand what to do with the show. As much as we love this show to be about us, we want people to enjoy listening to the show.
Yeah, that's the whole point.
And when we started, we didn't think anybody would listen. We didn't know what we were doing.
Yeah,
but
now that we've got people listening, we want to do it for them.
We want it to be an enjoyable part of your day, and it means the world to me when I get, and I know it does to you too, when you get a message from somebody that says, "Man, I'm so glad you dropped that episode," or "I really picked something up." But I think every episode is different, and that's what has been cool doing this together, doing it with you, and just doing. I mean, the whole time just being on that field trip, thinking about stories to tell on this show, and it really changes the way we see stuff. So that's cool for me, and I know that same thing for you. Just doing those short trips with your kids is cool for you. So thanks for listening to the episode, Dad's on the Fly. We have some exciting things that we're gonna have some content, man, because we're a week from spring break.
We are. Yeah.
So like this time next week, we'll be on
camping trips coming up. You're going to
I'm going to the coast. Me and Foster are going to chase
some fishing. I'll be doing some fishing.
Some saltwater fish.
And friends. And yeah, man. And then we got spring.
Dad's on the Fly Retreats right on the corner.
Fly Retreats coming up. We got a lot going on. We got Easter we're going to be celebrating. And I mean, this episode will drop on Monday, and then I want to go ahead and tell everybody Happy Easter. Hope you get a chance to celebrate with that this coming weekend with your families and celebrate what it's all about. We are super grateful for the resurrection, and just can't wait to celebrate that with my family as well.
Easter is one of our favorite times, and I love Easter. This year just happens to fall and take me into my spring break, so it's like a bonus. And we are definitely going to do some things, like, because me and Foster are going to the coast. I know you guys are going camping. We're going to the coast for a couple of days, but those other couple of days we're going to try to definitely fit in some fishing. So it's going to be fun, man. Anything else, buddy?
I think that's it, man. I've loved this conversation, and glad you had a great time with Foster on the field trip. That's good stuff.
We got space camp coming up.
Oh man,
one more field trip.
One more field trip.
I don't know how I can fit fly fishing in space camp, but I'm sure I'll try.
I mean, you're going to be in North Alabama, so
I can't get away, dude. I'm the super the chaperone. I can't leave because Wade lives like really close.
We got some friends that live over there.
I know, but I'm super close.
Talk about some smallie fishing.
We'll just figure something out. But
all right,
anything else?
I think that's it. Thanks everyone for listening to this episode of the Dads on the Fly podcast. And until next time, tight lines.